All right. What is up, Miss Robin? How are you today?
Oh, not much. I'm pretty good, I guess. I've slept way too late today and haven't done shit, really.
Uh, that's kind of the story of my day. But I'm glad you're here to talk with me on another episode of our political show here. It airs on both my channel and Robin's channel. And if we if we type, I think it's like this in the chat, we should get Robin's info pop up there. And go over to her channel and like and subscribe and check out the stuff. Robin talks about a lot more political stuff than me, but we have some good conversations on this show. And, not to toot my own horn, toot, but we've been right about a number of things and not good things really, but, nonetheless, I think we've had a pretty good read on it, you and I. We've done well looking at what the situation is and understanding what was coming.
We
Not
def-
that
we definitely our prophecy has been more accurate than the Bible.
we are far more accurate than the Bible. Worship me. You may make graven images. Um, anyway, so yeah. Today, the title for the show was a little confusing for some people. I would say the leopards are eating people's faces. I hear that's it's kind of an inside joke at the same time because just a few days ago I didn't really understand the meaning of that term, but something we'll get into. I didn't bring a bunch of clips for today, but I do have one that I want to look at, and it's kind of funny, so I think that it'll be good to start with that and kind of have something to laugh about, and then we'll talk about the situation with people and their political beliefs and my feelings about such. Um, but let's take a look. Let me see if I can get this to do it right. Okay, I should because I hate having to switch screens. Let's see if I can do it from here the right
When
way.
you say one is
Stories
funny,
about growth. I know you.
Hold on. Now what?
I said when you say one is funny, I'm sitting there trying to figure out which one I think it is going to be.
Well, I think his answer is funny to
Oh,
this,
okay.
and we'll talk about why. And I think those of you that consume a lot of atheist content will catch it, but it's a short clip. I'm going to let it play, and then we'll talk about it.
Said you're not expecting a recession, but investors are on edge over the possibility of a recession this year after the Atlanta Federal Reserve said that it's predicting a 2.4% contraction in the first quarter. And of course, President Trump would not.
What? Wait. Say that again. A what? What?
The Atlanta Federal
2.4%
Reserve
contraction?
Correct. First quarter.
Okay, right here, right now. That is ridiculous.
Okay. Have you spoken to the president of the Atlanta Federal Reserve? Have you told
Absolutely
the Atlanta?
not.
Have you told the Atlanta Fed that you say it's ridiculous because they're out with this contraction prediction for the and I know that you and President Trump are handed a mess. I'm not arguing that, but now we're talking about recession, and I asked President Trump about it this week, and he didn't say no.
All right. So,
Handed a mess. 9 straight quarters of growth.
yeah. Yeah, and definitely that is a straight up lie, right? But it's funny. He's told, hey, the people that look at this thing said at doing what you're doing is going to lead to a contraction in our economy, and he said, well, they said that. Well, that's ridiculous, and gave nothing other than just calling it ridiculous. The people who would know are telling him that there's a problem, and his answer is that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous that we're costing the economy trillions of dollars, and and were causing trade wars and uncertainty and all these things, and that you would even assume that the economy would shrink. It's just there's so much. First of all, incredulity involved there, where it's just like, I haven't talked to those people, I don't know, but I'm going to say that it's not true anyway. And then hubris of just being like, well, obviously we know what we're doing, even though we clearly don't. Like, it's hilarious though. I think I just thought that was funny when I watched it. I laughed out loud when his answer to it was, "That's ridiculous."
Well, I mean, and what gets me is her. She did the same thing when she talked to Trump too. Which
Oh yeah,
I don't watch Fox. I can't stand to watch it, but sometimes actually it's a good idea to pay attention so we know what kind of bullshit they're saying. So we know, like, their talking points. Because sometimes I'm like, but you can
sure.
tell like immediately anyway when you argue with these people online. As soon as like something happens, they all are in lockstep with some kind of ridiculously fallacious, just non sequitur answer. You know what I mean? And that's where they had to have got it because it's like all of them say it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but she said the same thing to Trump when she was talking
Well,
about it. She said, "Well, I know you inherited a mess,
yeah,
but no, he didn't. I mean,
yeah.
that's like
What part of it would you like to say was a mess? Because
that
if I recall correctly, even the Fox News hosts were having to admit that things were growing and going better than expected every quarter when the numbers came out.
nine
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
quarters. And
That
see, the thing
they
about
were having to openly say, "Oh, that's way better than expected," and
Trump
inherited a mess.
yeah, he
Um,
inherited growth both times.
yeah, yeah,
Like under Obama, it was like right at like 50, 40 something or something like that straight weeks, and then and then he turns around and inherits this right here from Biden, and just like it took us, and it just makes me sick.
I think Trump's made it pretty clear that because he inherited a record breaking economy. Like, it was the best it's been in a long time. All the numbers were. He's shown. I think what he's showing people is that whenever the previous economy that everybody blames on COVID may have been more Trump than COVID, which I've always kind of said that
It
it
was
was
already, it
his
was already
mishandling of it was the problem, not just the fact
no,
that
it
we
wasn't
had
just
to have lockdowns and all that, but his handling of it was what made it 10 times worse. But
he had already started doing that. He had already like done the farmers, and they done have to do the buyouts for the farmers.
well, I mean, under Joe Biden, immediately things, even though there were still lockdowns and things going on, things started to immediately get better.
Yeah,
And we not only recovered from the damage that Trump did by mishandling that, and the fact that it happened itself, but we recovered better and faster than any other major country with less inflation than most. And so to say that he inherited a mess is just, what metric would you like to say it was in a mess? Because everything was definitely far better than it was when Trump left office the previous time, and we were setting records daily. So by what metric was it a mess? I mean, some example, please. Uh, that
uh,
would be my question.
well, I mean,
But
we still had some high, a little bit. Inflation was still like high up, or whatever, but it was coming down. It was
yeah,
trending.
yeah, it was on its way down, right? I
Yeah, it
mean,
was trending down, and prices were still a little high. But like okay, you couldn't apply nothing to do with eggs
well,
to
I mean,
because that was
things,
like bird flu
right.
and stuff. And those people though they don't have any nuance or context of anything. They don't apply that. But I
Well,
think he's fairly well showed us how he managed to bankrupt a casino.
is it true or isn't it true that um uh hold on, how do I want to word that? Is it true or isn't it true that um under, well, I don't know how to word it. What I'm trying to get at is that um there's no, there's no metric in which you could say the economy didn't start to get better and that things didn't start to get better. And the fact that not only they got better, but then grew by record amounts on top of that, like is but here's the thing is we're pretending that the other people looking at this care about what facts and numbers say, and for the most part they just don't. You can show them facts and numbers, and as long as one of their talking heads is saying that it's a lie, they'll say it's a lie, uh,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
I think we can
batshit
see.
crazy.
I've always wondered how he bankrupted casinos. I've always asked that, and now I'm pretty
Oh
much
yeah,
satisfied
now
that
you see, right?
he has shown us the method to bankrupting a casino.
He bankrupted the one place where the house always wins. Like the house lost under Trump, and we see it again. But so let's get into this topic. All right. Let me start off with a little caveat here. Um, what I'm about to say may not be Robin's opinions on it, or yours in the audience. You're welcome to have your own views. These are going to be strictly what I think based on what's gone on and my
And it's your show.
and my reflection on it. Yeah, it's my show. They definitely reflect my views, which is the but this is airing on Robin's channel too.
That's all right.
So,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied we're not that far off.
Well, I think we mostly agree. And you can, even if you don't agree with me, you'll agree with how I got there, I think. But so we have all these regretful Trump voters, right? And this is the leopards eating faces terms, where they voted for Trump and they got fucked, and now they're regretful, right? And or for any other reason, they regret voting for Trump for some reason, and they haven't like said they're coming to the left or anything, but they understand that they shouldn't have voted for Trump. And there's this whole thing where it's like, oh well, I see now, and let's all get along and talk about all this other stuff because I see that I screwed up. And my feelings on that is that I'm glad to see that those people have made better choices, at least on this one thing. But the fact that they voted for someone who everyone was yelling for from every place they could yell was going to do harm to our country and discriminate against any minority and margins, all the different things, right? All that stuff that came with Trump. Everybody was telling them, and they for the most part, I want to say they did it out of greed to make an extra $10 or whatever, $100, $500, $10,000. It doesn't really matter for themselves. And then when they found out that things weren't going good for themselves, now they want to be regretful for the same selfish reasons, right? Because it affected them. And that may not be everybody's story, and that's fine, but I think that's a lot of it. And the fact that I'm not ready to just forgive and forget, and that you voted to for things like racism and saying my friends don't exist and stuff like that, like I'm not really ready to just say okay, that's fine. Like it's great that they changed their mind, but it doesn't mean that we have to be friends. It doesn't mean that I like you or that we have anything to talk about. I kind of still think you're an awful person, and if you did it out of ignorance, I think you're an awful stupid person. So that's kind of where I'm at. What do you think about that, Robin?
Well, first of all, I want to say something to somebody in chat. All presidential candidates are controlled by the elites. I don't even know. That's like conspiracy that's flung out there. Y'all don't act like Harris was any different. Okay. Yes, there's a huge difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. That's all I got to say about that. Massive difference. But I want to know where you're finding all these regretful Trump voters. That's what I want to know, because all I keep seeing is people who have consistently hung in like a hair in a biscuit, they will go down in flames with this dude,
Oh, the
defending him over giving the most ignorant defenses.
there's video after video after video put on YouTube about all these Trump voters regret their vote. This Trump person lost their insurance. Big stories about Trump voters on social media asking for help from people because they're going to lose their insurance and they need help.
Is this on left wing? See, there's like a couple channels
Yeah,
on
no,
YouTube.
it's definitely the left wing stuff pushing
There's a
these
couple.
stories.
There's a couple of channels on YouTube that I kind of followed before the election that do a lot of that clickbaity
Yeah, bombshell
stuff,
this
and
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 yeah.
I they were so far off, with all of these supposed people who were like coming over and changing their mind. It should have been, and it just blows my mind. So there's a couple of channels that I deleted them. I don't watch them anymore.
No,
Like,
and I did too. I did too, Robin.
yeah,
I agree with that. Uh, Maya said leopards ate my face vids are a whole new genre. Yeah, that's like that term, leopards ate my face. That's it's coming from all the people that are doing that. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying it's the majority or even most or anything like that. I'm just saying these videos that come out of, oh, feel sorry for me because I don't like the person I voted for, and
yeah.
it's like,
And but they
I'm
don't
fine.
they
Go
don't
ahead.
regret it because of anything he's doing to anybody else. Like, like,
Right, they regret it. They regret it because it's hurting them now.
yeah, yeah. Think about how many people who in government, like in IRS or the all the different agencies that he's cut all these workers from.
Yeah,
Think and veterans, like like all the veterans that are in the Veterans Affair, VA system and stuff
mm.
that he's cut jobs from that were probably voted for him.
You don't. And my thing is like, yeah, you're right. And my thing is you don't get to say you didn't know,
Yeah,
like, especially because
I agree.
they all give the same thing. They thought they were going to benefit financially from it, and so you don't get to then say you didn't know whenever you knew that much. So you surely heard everybody screaming about Project 2025 and all the different things that were coming out about Trump that everybody was screaming on every left wing channel, all over YouTube, even late night TV and places that weren't political were telling everybody what was contained in Project 2025 and what was coming. We had that flyer, that list
Yeah,
that had those things on it that all happened just about like I mean, so it's not like there wasn't people telling them. So the fact that you didn't give a shit about your fellow man enough then to either vote for people or not vote or whatever the fuck, like the fact that you didn't care enough then, it leaves me in a spot now to where I'm like, how it's hard for me to care now.
yeah, yeah. Well, they could have checked us out with our reliable prophecy, and
Yeah, right. We,
like
we 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 laid it all out for them. They didn't
we
listen.
were more reliable than the Bible, and
Yeah.
I think you got some membership.
Stop the Stupidity has gifted 5 Kentucky Atheist memberships. Thank you so much, Stop the Stupidity. It looks like you hit Sumami with one of those, and Jason Jacoby, or Jacoby, I imagine. Um, Austin Sims, and
Casey
Randy,
Randy.
who I thought just got a membership, but good deal, Randy. And Pepper Roberts, who's been a member off and on for a long time. That you had excellent aim there. You hit five good ones. Thank you so much, Stop the Stupidity, for gifting those memberships. It's helps the channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. Plus, we do members stuff every week, and it's always some of my members things are better than my regular shows. For real, you're missing out if you don't get to see the member streams. But so
Yes, IDK. Yes, that I mean, I kind of agree with that. Some of these elderly people that have been like they scared them, they frightened them. And some of these people are not online. that's one thing you got to remember. Like some of these elderly people that probably vote Republican are not online. They're not. I mean, they're watching their news, and our legacy media is failing at
Oh, sure.
because they have just become so. Well, I mean, I can kind of understand it. Like he does something every day that would have ended somebody else's career, and
Yeah.
and eventually, when do you stop reporting it as like some kind of like big breaking story? Eventually, it's just like Trump did Trump shit today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would be this. That's how they should do the news every evening. Trump did
Um,
some more Trump shit today, and then that's it because he does. He's consistent with this Trump shit, and
yeah.
nobody cares, and most of the people don't care. So what's and then he gets mad at the media for reporting it. Like
Yeah.
so.
Stop the Stupidity just joined as a member too. Thank you so much. Look forward to hanging out with everybody. But yeah, no, yeah, and there's a lot of that. Like the media too has been trained. Like we want you to cover the nonsense and crazy stuff and not talk about the important stuff. And so your legacy media is
He
busy
goes
talking
after.
about,
He
huh?
he threatens them. He's threatened to put them off the
Well, yeah,
air.
one of them finally settled, which is going to give him the precedent to make it illegal to criticize him on network television. Um, that's that's where he's heading with that for sure. He's already put that in motion. But
Teddy Roosevelt said, "It is patriotic to stand by your country. It is not patriotic to stand by the president."
right, right. Well, I mean, he's already been defying court orders. So the power of the court, he's shown that they have absolutely no power over the executive branch anymore. He's taken power from Congress, as long as the Republicans hold office, and he's not going to let. Democrats are expected to win by huge numbers in the next election in the midterms.
I don't even know if I think that.
He's not going to let that happen anyway.
I
If
don't no, I
if
don't believe that. Our
if if he believes that's the case, we won't have a midterm election.
Democrats are polling at the lowest approval rating ever in their history right now.
Hmm.
So why anybody thinks that we're going to win at these huge margins, I have no idea. Because our own people
Because
approve
of
of
all
those
these
things.
regretful Trump voters.
Yeah, but
That's
that's not. I just don't see it. I don't believe it. I,
that the point is that the margins were so close that all these people are going to flip, and just like they just flipped a red seat in Pennsylvania, that they didn't expect to
well,
even come close to winning.
all
So
I can say is that like prior to the presidential election, we had several special elections.
sure.
And they all turned out pretty well for the Democrats. And we read that as some sort of prediction for the presidential election, and it didn't turn out that way.
Well, also some of that, most all but one of those seats, I believe, they were already Democratic seats that they expected to retain,
Yeah,
and they ended up flipping one, I think. But
yeah.
you're right, and here's the thing, Robin. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what they're expecting. That's just
I,
what
I,
that's what the pundits and the politicians think is the case. Uh, I'm not saying it is the case. I don't
you
even
know,
have to really.
I ain't been watching nothing that's been saying that really.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sharing that opinion, but I'm just saying that that's where people are. It's been stated a number of times by Republican representatives and the independent media, mass media, that it's been said. Now, I'm not saying that they have any evidence that that's true for any other reason than they think people are mad at Trump. Democrats are incredibly horrible at reading what the American people think. But it's that it's been said. That's all I'm saying.
And
And
but now they're posed to like. I finally saw a video last night on this voting bill. And
yeah,
this voting bill that they're going to put out. If this passes through Congress, it of course it has to get through passed by the House and the Senate. I thought it was in the budget bill thing, but it wasn't.
It passed the Senate already, didn't it? Or the House already?
I don't know. I don't think. I think it's out of committee. I
Oh,
think they made it out
I
of
thought
committee.
it passed. I thought they voted and passed it somewhere. I'm almost
I
certain
think
they
they
did.
passed it out of committee. I watched
Oh,
it.
just the committee passed it. I see what you're saying. I got you. My bad, Robin. I understand what you're saying now.
It's not. I thought
Sorry.
it was in the budget bill, but it wasn't. Thank goodness. But it
Right.
and it's going to just it's got you're going to have to either have a passport or your birth certificate to vote, to register to vote. And then they're closing, and then of course he signed an executive order yesterday that like allows him to just reconstruct, like change a bunch of election laws anyway, even though, and it prevents it's the executive order is like kind of takes the states run their own elections, like
Yeah.
that's just there's certain rules on some things during federal elections, but states are in charge of their own elections. And his order that he signed yesterday removes, according to his order, the power from most states to run their own elections. It gives it. I don't even think it's constitutional. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to go to Supreme Court before, and it'll probably be one of the ones that does go to the Supreme Court. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, where uh, let me hold on. Let me I wanted to respond to something. Oh, just shit. I can't click on it there. I have to click on it over here. I'm so stupid when it comes to this. I probably just screwed up the chat, honestly.
how can you screw up that chat?
Well, the my view of it anyway. Yeah, I can't
Oh,
get to it now. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay, finally. Um, well, I won't put it on screen. Jester said though that um, uh, that you didn't like the framing, that that's what Republicans want Democrats to think, or whatever. I mean, um,
which framing, Jester? Like the
I think talking about how they're trying to do away with elections and just keep power.
Jester. Don't you know that me and Joe have a very good accuracy rating on prediction on our prophecies?
Did you just say we will need a passport? Yeah, that's what is in the bill, that you have to prove your
Citizenship.
citizenship whenever you register. So that will require either a real ID where you've already turned those things in, or that you take your passport, or that you take all of the stuff required for a real ID when you register to vote.
And you won't be able.
That's
It
what's
says you
in it.
can't. It says you can't register to vote online. You can't
No.
read. Like there's, it changes some of the places of where you can register to vote, and stuff like it's completely unconstitutional. That executive order is the elections are state run. That is in the that is in the Constitution that they are. Um, that the states are in charge of their own elections, and there's only certainly circumstances that the federal government is allowed to inject into that elections. And so I completely, and so actually, can we mention the Supreme Court? Because I really was losing hope with the Supreme Court. Um, and yesterday, was it yesterday or day before, they handed us a win. Biden had banned those
Ghost
ghost gun
guns.
kits,
Hmm.
and wrote that and everything. Which it was that was bipartisan election. I mean bipartisan legislation that did that. That that did that, and that was up in front of the Supreme Court yesterday, and they defended the law that Biden had 7-2. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was in our favor, 7-2, which means
Yeah.
they got no everybody except Alito and Thomas, because
Mhm.
those are the only two that don't give a shit about the law. I guess Gorsuch even voted with us, so that's a good. I mean, that was a win, and I'm really thinking that that maybe some of them are coming around and
Yeah.
decide, hey, look, This man is just blatantly breaking the law, and we're aiding and abetting him. And when they get ready to start, like, taking people to the guillotine, we might be on the list. I don't know. What I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean?
So, real quick, $5 super chat from Pinworm. Mind if I listen on my ride home? Keep me company. Hi, Robin. Hi, Joe. Hi, chat. Hey, Pinworm.
Hey,
Thanks for coming.
Pinworm.
Pinworm always stops by and
Yeah, we missed him when he was gone.
yeah, quite often drops a super chat or something. Thank you for your generosity, Pinworm, and of course you're always welcome here. Uh, Pinworm will be hanging out with me at the art protest. He's going to help me. He's going to volunteer his time to help me out. Him and Mark Alsop and a couple other people are going to help us get everything set up for that. I also wanted to show real quick Jester's chat here. Clarification, Joe said that what the pundits think is not necessarily what they think. It's what they want the voter to think. Sure, yeah. I agree with that statement. That's definitely a thing that happens. So, yeah. Didn't I see, there's Maya and Aunt Jer, Burius. I seen a Mark Reed in there somewhere a second
Yes,
ago.
Mark Reed. Yes, Mark Reed here. Trees is here. Burius.
Yeah. IDK. Get
Maya.
your passport now. Department of State has too few employees to process, and they're great for voting and handing in case you win a surprise trip to Paris. Yes.
And in Kentucky, our DMVs are already like clogged up because of the new vision testing that you have to go through. And so I heard Andy speaking on that today. And okay, Andy put out an executive order here in Kentucky banning conversion therapy, and the legislation passed a law putting it back in place. In fact, the legislation protects it even more than it originally was. I'm not sure. I know Andy vetoed it. I'm not sure if they've overrode the veto yet, but they have the numbers too. So it's terrible. That's just terrible. I've decided that I think that anybody who thinks kids should have to go through conversion therapy, those Christians, they should have to go through conversion therapy to try to convert them to Islam and go through the torture that, and that, let's see how you like conversion therapy. You know what I mean? Then you can enroll your children into conversion therapy. Now, that's, it's horrible. So, but I'm not hoping out hope that our legislators will actually do the right thing here in Kentucky, because we do have a super majority Republican, and they very seldom do the right thing.
It's kind of weird to watch a state where they have a super majority in the Congress, and then you have the opposing party being the governor. It makes some of the laws we get unexpected.
Can you pull up a video or Andy gave a speech about it? I don't know. Is that too much trouble?
No, I can pull up anything you want.
Well, you want me to go look for it? You can talk, and I'll find it. Which one I was talking
Yeah,
about.
if you want to find the link for it, I'll talk about the ARC thing real quick.
Okay.
And then when you get the link, we'll put it up. Is that cool?
Okay.
All right. So any of you that are here that are interested in joining us for the ARC Encounter protest this year, it's July 6, 2025 in Williamstown, Kentucky. I do have some new news for this, and I'm glad we waited till everybody was here. The link for the hotel rooms is in the chat. That's the discounted rate. It'll save you almost $100 a night on a hotel room. And you have to book that room before June 15th, though. If you do not, you will not get it at that rate. You will pay more. So get your room paid for before June 15th. They're at the Hampton Inn in Richwood, which is right down the road from the art protest. There's also a bunch of us that are going to be staying together as a group. If you are interested in the group thing, I think all of us are creators, aren't we? Every one of us in some sort, right? Me, you, Jess, Secular Rarity, Will. Will isn't. Will is the only one that's not. The rest of them are. Big Bad Mama, maybe. um, ambushed apostate and his brother, and Austin Sims and Karisu, all creators that are all doing the group thing. So if you're interested in sharing a group thing, it may say it looks like if we get everyone to do it, it'll save everyone money. It'll be even cheaper than the hotel. So if you're interested in doing that, yeah, you'll for the most part, everybody gets their own private room. There's a couple like bunk beds that are together and a lot of them and stuff, but I figure the people who are like, you know, just by themselves or whatever wouldn't care about that or anything. But there are rooms and bathrooms and all that crap. So plenty of room, and it's a nice place with pool and hot tub and everything. Big yard. Let me know if you're interested in that. Otherwise, though, the link for the hotels is in the chat now. You can start booking your rooms. So that's all I got. Have you sent it yet, Robin?
How do I need to send it to you?
You can either send it to me through. You can send it through Discord, email, or in the private chat on here.
Okay, that's what I was going to try to do right here, but I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
I never can figure out how to use this private chat. Okay. There we go.
Stop the stupidity. Gifted 5 more. Where did it go? Why did it take it off that? Stop the stupidity. Gifted 5 more memberships. Looks like this time we hit Tori. Why is it Tori, Vincent Button, TJ, Druzilla? That's funny. TJ got a membership to my channel.
Who?
TJ. He's the theist I had on that. Well, I can't see the chats being on. All right.
Where are you at, Mark Reed? Are you in my channel?
Yeah, we see you here. Oh, that's why, because yeah, there's people from Robin's channel too. So
yay!
All right. Let's do it like this. 1 second, and I'll get it up here. Okay. All right.
I'm proud of our governor, and I'm hoping he's going to be our candidate in 2028 for president of the United States. I'm going to push him and push him and push him because he is a good man. He is a Christian, and he talks about his faith a lot, but he is one of them people that his faith makes him a good person. I mean, he's a good person, and he has faith. So I'm fine with his faith. If all Christians behave like Andy, I might even become a Christian again, just for the, just for the benefits of it. Not really, but
not really. I like that. Good one. All right, so this is only a minute long, so I'm just going to let it play. Okay.
All right. I think you got to unmute it.
You can't hear that?
No. Can you hear it? I think it's probably on mute like those videos usually are.
Yeah. Let me,
There should be like a little thing right there that's got like a X over the speaker or something, I think.
Yeah, no, I've got it. That's what I'm looking at. Here we go. I found the problem.
Okay.
All right. Now tell me if you can hear it when it starts.
Right here, News
Yeah, I hear
6
it now.
tonight. Governor Andy Beshear is using his veto power to stop conversion therapy from being legal in Kentucky. The governor vetoed House Bill 495, which would overrule his decision to ban conversion therapy for LGBTQ people. Now, we caught up with the governor about this in Louisville tonight.
My faith teaches me that all children are children of God, and the so-called conversion therapy harms our children. It's been discredited by every major medical association, and it causes rates of suicide in our children to increase. We should never be passing a bill that increases the likelihood of suicide with our kids. We should always be trying to decrease it.
The legislation also seeks to prohibit the state's Medicaid program from covering gender transition treatment. Kentucky lawmakers will have a chance this week to override the governor's veto with a majority vote from both houses. Another bill the governor has to consider is House Resolution 15. It would require a monument of the Ten Commandments to be on display at the Kentucky Capitol.
Oh,
Several
yay.
faith leaders have written to the governor asking him to veto that plan.
What? How many faith leaders?
Style.
Style and substance.
How many faith leaders did that say? Had asked him to veto
How many what?
the Ten Commandment bill?
Oh, I didn't hear.
I thought it said like 59 faith leaders had written him and asked him to veto the Ten Commandment bill. That's awesome. Can you believe we have 59 faith leaders in Kentucky that believe in separation of church and state?
No, I do not believe that.
Me
That's,
neither.
that's quite the achievement.
I mean, we have a lot of faith leaders. That's a very small, like, percentage of them. But, yeah, it must be all the UU churches and stuff like that.
I can't get this thing off screen.
I'm sorry.
I can't get it.
It says offline.
Yeah, I know. I'd already. There it goes. I'd already removed it. I don't know how it came back, but anyway.
There's Chris in the chat too. He's here.
Yeah, hey Chris, good to see you. So so much there. Andy Bashir, I think is looking at a run for president. One of my favorites, of course, is like AOC, but I would still love to see Andy Bashir run, and I think that I mean he's a better option than
he's a safer bet because he is, he's a Democratic governor who ran in a deep red state where we have, a super majority of Republicans, and it's not all because of gerrymandering. They're not very many Democrats in this state, actually.
Oh yeah, you don't have to gerrymander. It's here, it's not so much gerrymandering; it's the cities that we have.
Yeah. But he got huge amounts of the Republican voters. The first election he kind of come in on the back of what was his name? The one that like insulted all the teachers.
I don't remember.
I can't think of his name, but he told the teachers that while they were out protesting that kids were being molested or some shit like that. Remember?
Yeah.
And so he got people voted for him, and his dad used to be our governor too. His dad had a good record. But even my parents, my Trump loving Republican red voting parents voted for Andy. So he is loved across party lines. Even when he does stuff like that right there, when he bans conversion therapy and vetoes their bill, they actually, most people, he said that somebody came up to him and said, I may not agree with your decision, but I know that you were doing what you think was right. And so that's AOC would never win. I just don't believe that. I just don't. I think we'd better stick to something that right now that we know can get the votes.
Chris says him and Ollie for VP. I'm down with that.
Who?
Chris Mallard said him and Ollie, his dog, for VP.
Oh, okay. AOC could be like You're,
Well, no.
you could add
What
it.
I said is
That
I
would
would
help.
love to see AOC be president.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
like
know,
Andy could take AOC as like on his ticket, and
I think
that
the
would
two of them
help
together,
bring
that would be amazing.
that
That would
would
be,
bring the progressives. Plus,
yeah,
it would help us with, and I believe a lot of Republicans from Kentucky. That may be the closest we ever get to having a blue turnout um,
yeah,
for a president in this
yeah,
state
yeah.
because he has a good. I mean, he won by like I think like 12, 15 points or something like that
Mhm.
in the last governor election. So
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, no, Andy Bashir has been, that's one of the things of having to be governor in a state where you have so much red. You have to learn to work with, you
yeah,
know.
but he hasn't buckled on the things that are right.
Oh no, he
They're
hasn't. And
important.
that's that. Well, that's what I was going to say. He works with them, but he's still,
Yeah,
strong in a lot of ways, and
yeah.
he gets the things he says he's going to get. He's done a good job, and a lot of people like him.
Yeah,
And he's an up and comer in the Democratic Party, and getting recognized for being governor in such a red state as a Democrat. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of and you see what he's doing right now. He's starting to gear up a little bit and
yeah.
talk on a national stage.
He's been on a bunch of podcasts like the
Yeah,
last couple of
he's
weeks.
been
Yeah,
he's been getting around and talking about national issues and stuff, which kind of leads me to think that at least they're leaning in going that direction in the next election. I
I,
don't know that. It's just a
I
guess.
haven't seen Trump attacking too much yet, but
Trump doesn't seem as a threat yet.
yeah, but he will because he has spoken out against Trump's like the because of our whiskey, our bourbon, you know,
Yeah.
like because actually like Canada has pulled our bourbon completely off the shelves. They're not even going to sell it with the tariff on there. They're just gonna quit selling it. And so they pull like, and that's like 80% of our bourbon industry is to Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's almost our whole industry to Canada, and now it's like not even gonna sell it. So
Yeah. So Canadians are they were out protesting and raising hell about Trump and the he it's to me, like the stuff with like what he's doing there. To me, it's an obvious. He's obviously trying to um, destroy our economy and to alienate our allies. Like, to me, it's obvious that's what he's doing.
I
Uh,
see. I don't believe that because I think that anything he obviously tries to do, he fails at. So he's doing such a good job at.
well, I think he's going to fail still.
He's doing such a good job at tanking the economy that I really feel like he cannot be actually intending to,
Well,
because
and that's the one
you
thing
know what
we
I mean.
talked about. The only thing that outmeasures the amount of evil that these people have is the incompetency and the stupidity that they harbor, right? I mean, like that's the only thing worse than the evil that they want and we get lucky occasionally that they're too fucking stupid to stay within the guidelines. But one of the things I was talking about is what I see anyway, and my take on it, which take it as you will, but it's like we have rules and we have a rule book that we go by and the Constitution and the guidelines of law. We play the Democrats play by the rules, and the Republicans say fuck it, we're not playing by the rules, and they know that we will play by the rules and they take advantage of it, and that's how they do a lot of the horrible things they do, because Democrats are like, oh, we don't want to mess with the filibuster or do this and that because then Republicans will do it to us. But Republicans are going to do it to them anyway anytime they get a chance. Like that's never is they need to quit expecting Republicans to play by the same rules, because they don't. And
No, they don't play by any rules.
exactly. I mean, and that's really, but they use it against us that they don't play by the rules, right? They know that we'll act within the rules, so we're predictable.
Yeah,
So,
and anything the Democrats do that go out of the rules, then it's like you just it's like just the roar from that side is just like deafening. I
Yeah.
mean, they complain and whine and cry
Yeah.
about every single thing, and everything that they support is just pretty much to own the libs. That's all.
Oh, right, right.
Some of those
And
voters could
that's the
care.
thing.
Yeah, some of those voters don't support those policies. They just want to own the libs.
If there's not an opportunity for them to own the libs, they have nothing, right?
Yeah,
They just like, and I think Pete Hegseth should be. Well, I think a number of them should resign now or be fired because of this Signal chat room thing. But Pete Hegseth specifically, because of attacking a reporter and uh, furthering this fake news and the attack of the media. Whenever he's saying this thing didn't happen, and they're showing screenshots that it did,
yeah.
and like we talked about last night, uh, the Gabbard, was that her name, Gabbard?
Tulsi, yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard, yeah. Tulsi Gabbard and Mike Walls both sat and lied right in front of Congress. I mean, perjured themselves to shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and Tulsi was in Russia. She was in Russia when that
And
happened.
wouldn't tell them.
No, no, but she was in Russia when that happened, and so there she was in Russia, inside Russia, with
Yeah,
her Signal app on her phone
an
with
app they
a
knew was
war plan.
compromised.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and here's the best part of it is they, immediately they come out and said, well, when we took these jobs,
Damn Joe Biden.
yeah, that Joe Biden had this download on all the. Okay, Joe Biden probably had where you could text your neighbor, your not the guy down the hall, and say where you want to eat lunch at, or some crap like that. But that didn't mean that he put it on there for us to go ahead and I mean, I guess it never occurred to him. Hey, should we talk about this shit on this kind of thing? You know what I mean?
I almost think that this might be a distraction because of all the people in the world that they added to the chat, it happened to be the editor of a major news outlet. Like, to me, that's too on the nose. Like, of all the people you accidentally added, you added a rival editor, and to me, I don't know. We'll see where they go with it.
And the thing about it is Jeff was like, okay, he got it prior to the attack. You know what I mean? It was prior to the attack,
Yeah.
and he
Oh,
said
yeah.
he said
By a
on it,
couple hours.
like because he's an American and he's and he doesn't want to endanger people, so he didn't come out and print this information and say, hey, look what I've got. I know what's going on. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
sure.
But he kept it quiet and he let them know after that they did it, and they acted like they did. And so then he put out the classified information and stuff on there that they denied that he even got.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just so DUI hires. That's
Yeah.
what I call them now. I mean, that's what I'm going to continue to call them for the rest of their presidency is the DUI hires. And I think Hegspeth, I think one of them will be a, sacrificial lamb. I don't know if it'd be Hegspeth or Waltz or it should be whoever added
Yeah.
that guy to the chat.
Well, even and here's the thing: there was that reporter there that observed it. How often does this go on that they're not catching them doing it? Right?
Exactly.
You know,
But this is what I love about them. It's the only thing
they're too
they're
stupid,
very
right?
evil, but they're very stupid.
Yeah, their incompetency is the only thing that outweighs their evil, right?
Yeah, it's like Wally Cody.
Exactly. That's a very good metaphor. I like that. Um, but the thing of it is like, and the media goes on talking about, well, this guy, he posted this and it was attack plans and all that. And the thing that they're not saying, that they should be saying over and over and over, is every time that he's done this, he has put American soldiers' lives in danger. He this was obviously classified material. It was things that hadn't happened yet, planes that hadn't taken off yet, and it was obviously attack plans, right? It obviously fell under
It,
national defense stuff, which is automatically classified.
yeah, it named the specific weapons that they were using, the
Yes.
targets, the the
Methods were very much talked about.
yeah, and then the best part of it is they also like went on like bashing people on there
Yeah.
too. So like Europe, they got like a whole bunch of shit that was said about Europe. I think there was even, and they were sending each other fire emojis after bombing people. Um, just a lot of stuff that just looks really bad. That I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard to make that bunch look bad, and they managed to like outdo themselves on this one. I think. And Maya,
Well,
you are welcome to DUI hire. I don't think I thought that up myself. So, but you can use that anytime.
yeah, I've heard it a few places, but
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. Uh, it's fitting, right?
yeah, dictating under the influence. I like that. That's
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
or look at Tree said whiskey leaks. Remember WikiLeaks? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Trees, good.
Don't forget that Trump administration is trying to keep all their actions off the official records. No more accountability. Well, I mean, they're doing away with anybody that could hold them accountable, and even when they are held accountable, they defy the court orders. So I don't know when the Supreme Court decided that Trump couldn't be, held accountable for anything he did as president. Then, uh, it's kind of he doesn't have to listen. He doesn't have to do. What are they going to do? He doesn't have to listen to them, and that's what he's done. He's defied court orders already. He'll do more of it. It's a huge problem, right? But anyway, Pete Hegseth. So and then I want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard for a minute. But Pete Hegseth goes in front of a camera and I think was acting
Very
suspicious.
aggressive.
Yeah.
He was like leaning in.
Given his history, it was suspicious behavior, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if you look at things like that, um, facts and reason and things like that. But he uh, he attacked this reporter and said it was fake news and said that this reporter could not be trusted and all these other things, and said that there was no war plans or there was no classified information that was shown, and that's just a lie. What they did, whether intentionally or not, violates the Espionage Act. 100% is exactly what the Espionage Act describes, right? By transmitting these things over devices that are not approved to do such things with. So they violated the Espionage Act, and if they're not held accountable, here we have another example of there's not, we're arresting people and deporting people for being brown. I mean, that have no crimes and have no history of crimes. They're deporting them to out of the country and all kinds of unconstitutional stuff. Um, they are not going to hold them accountable for this. They're going to pretend like they did no wrong. Um, they may fire an aide or something like that somewhere, but they're going to go on about their business. And Fox News is trying so hard to spin this into, oh, you see, this shows that our government functions, and it's a bit of it's a moment of transparency where you get to see that they're actually doing their jobs and carrying out the things and all this. But the fact of the matter is that it put lives in danger by doing that. I mean, you can argue that all you want and fine, but what he did could have resulted in American lives being lost needlessly.
Yeah,
So
if they had sent that to somebody besides, you know, him, they had sent that to somebody that could have blowed that, um, you know, they could have, put our servicemen. And in fact, we had 4 servicemen that went missing, and I don't even know if they've still found them. But it wasn't like directly related to that, but
yeah,
in a different country, and so just yeah, And when you do Tulsi, I was going to talk about. I think we should talk about the torture of the people that are in the.
Okay, and so we can get in there. All I really want to say about Tulsi Gabbard is that she went in front of Congress and they asked her about these messages, and she said she had seen them and then forgot they were there, and forgot that, as the intelligence director, that there was classified materials being sent through an instant messaging app that by the intelligence community itself had declared that it was not safe to use it and that it was compromised. And she sat there and said that she forgot about it and didn't see it and all this stuff. And then when they put her on the spot about it, straight up lied. They asked her where she was when she got those messages. She said that she didn't know, that it was somewhere, in the Asian Pacific area, and she was in Russia. That's where she was. She didn't want to say she was in Russia because they know they fucked up, right? They know they screwed up and they weren't supposed to do that. But and here's the biggest thing that pisses me off about it. It's like, okay, you fucked up. Like, that's what you get when you hire a drunk weekend host to lead the Department of Defense.
And Tulsi Gabbard is I mean, she has been a Putin fan for a while. She's a
Sure.
conspiracy theorist. She is a veteran, but
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
obviously has no loyalty to the United States. She is a Trump sycophant, and she's not smart. She's not a person that should be in charge of our intelligence. I mean, they even said in her hearings, for nomination hearings, that
Oh, right. She
this
was
wasn't all
unqualified.
that smart.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their defense on some of the dumb things that she had already done that they were calling her out for, saying that she wasn't qualified. They said that she wasn't all that smart. I mean, that's their defense of her becoming the
Well, I mean, at least
director of intelligence.
at least they were honest about something.
Yeah, director of intelligence. So that's smart. Well, it
Yeah.
matches up with most of the country, I'd say. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. They well, I mean, just the fact that she sat there, the two of them sat there in Congress and just straight lied just lied through their teeth about this stuff. And, you know, we don't have the numbers to do anything about it, really. But just the fact that,
well, this is the kind of thing though that will shake some of the Republicans out of like, it's going to take something like this because the Republicans, one thing that they have been pretty strong on most the years in prior is national security. If nothing else, I mean, they're funny about our military stuff, and not because they care as much about the veterans, but because they like being like strongest, and they
well, they
like,
like spending all their money on defense, right?
and they're always thinking somebody's coming after us. That's like you know the
Well,
the way
yeah,
they've always been about like always thinking something was going on, and we've always went and started a lot of shit around the world, and so we had a reason to have to wash our ass, and you know what I mean? So, and by the way, like people like Canada and UK and places like that have supported us every time we did that. And we kind of like just, you know, yeah, they've always supported us when we wanted to do something like that, when they didn't have any, dog in the fight, really. So,
yeah.
yeah. So but they're just like, some of the Republicans, some of the old school Republicans, I can't even imagine if John McCain was still alive, what he would be saying right now.
I don't know, but time after time, those Republicans that we think that about, though, end up voting for whatever Trump wants them to
Well,
vote.
they're not going to turn on Trump, but I think that some of them will call for somebody to be. I told you last night. I think some of them will call for somebody to be sacrificed.
I think it'll be one of Mike Waltz's aides. That's who'll get fired.
Probably somebody that
Yeah.
probably somebody didn't have anything to do with it at all. But
Yeah, yes.
But-
I mean, if nothing, we know that this is the party of scapegoating, right? I mean,
Yeah. They
Uh,
probably find a trans person to blame for it. I'd say.
right. it was
or a woman, or
the woke the woke radical left media. Um, they'll start saying that dude hacked his way into there and all
they
kinds of
did.
things.
They've already said that.
Yeah, yeah.
But they
It's
can't. You know what I mean? Because
mischievous.
it shows that he was added by this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they've tried everywhere in the world.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I guess God put him in there. Maybe that's what it was. God added him. That's what we should start telling.
Well, I mean,
Makes as much sense as their excuse.
I, I mean, at this point, it doesn't. I mean, I don't think you could really do much worse. the that they already have all the creationists and the far right Christian nationalists on their side, so and half of them believe that he's fucking Orange Jesus. So um,
I was going to tell Shaking Fist, I have started calling Fox News the state media. That's what I'm going to
state
call them.
media,
I am going to call them that from now on, no matter what. That's going to be
American Russian media.
no, the state media. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like Russia has, and North Korea has, and Germany had, and so that's what they are. But we are What's even worse is we are right now. We are arresting people without due process. Okay. And we actually, Trump signed an executive order that says that he doesn't have to share information about those people who've been arrested with anybody because it is of national security reasons. So there's no oversight on. There could be American citizens there. They could. He also says that you can walk up in somebody's house without a warrant
yep.
if they think that you have someone in there. So, all this is very un-American, very unconstitutional. They can walk up in your house so that they could have American citizens down there. We would never know it. Like they could arrest me and Joe for, talking bad about Trump. They could come get us, arrest us. Nobody would ever know where we went. We could be in that prison down there and be tortured right now because that some of the reporters that actually saw some of the people being arrested, what they were doing. And if you don't care, go to Bulwark. Tim Miller on the Bulwark. There is a gay hairdresser that was arrested. A barber. He's a barber. And he didn't do women's hair. He did men's. But he's a barber, and he was arrested. And he was an asylum seeker who was here. He was not an illegal immigrant. These people came and to seek asylum, like what our law said they could do. And he got arrested at the border when he came to seek asylum. Instead of just turned away, even. You know what I mean? He got arrested and sent to this prison down there. And they were smacking him and hitting him in the head and everything else. And he was very upset because he was not a criminal. They said he was some member of this gang. They said everybody was. And Tim Miller put his name on Bulwark and asked everyone to write your representative or your senator and ask them to make sure to get him out of there or just to do something about his name to put it out there. So if you got time to go to the Bulwark, I should have got it out for you, but yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not even, I mean, just he was just a person that came here fearing for his life from where he lived. And as soon as he came to the border and asked for asylum, they locked him up and sent him off to some prison camp. And they're torturing him.
Yeah.
And me and Joe really both have talked about this. I fear that probably it's going to be far worse for those people than torture, actually.
Yeah. I think that everybody needs to keep their eye on what happens to these people, where they go, how the numbers change, because shipping them out of state to a place like they did. I already thought before that the plan is to commit a genocide here, right? I mean, we're repeating things that happened in history step by step, and now that Trump has got his scapegoat and he's deporting them, the whole argument is that they're costing us money and taking jobs. So does he want to pay another country to feed and house and guard these guys? Is he really going to do that? I don't think so. He's going to turn them over there, tell them to do what they want with them. We're we're going to see people dying in huge numbers over the things that Trump's doing. People who were here legally, even, and it's it should be something just completely unacceptable to everybody. But
I mean, this is the same thing. Like, this is our country. Everybody who knows American history, even if you got the watered down version,
yeah,
you know that we have committed genocide, and done some horrible things in our past. The Native American population, and what we've done to them, and of course our slave owning years and stuff. We've been guilty of massive human rights violations.
oh sure, yeah,
Well past the time that the rest of the world was allowing some of that stuff, and
yeah.
so and here we are in 2024 or 25, and we're doing it again.
Yeah, no. And I mean, so here's the thing. Whenever somebody starts, and it's of course going to come out because this is public stuff. Whenever we start seeing the amount of money that it's costing to for Trump to do his "I Hate Brown People" tour, whenever the amount of money is shown, people are going to raise hell, and when they raise hell, they're gonna say, well, we can't be spending money to do this, and where does that leave all those people that we've now deported to a foreign country, and to that they're all being put out of sight in places where we can't keep an eye on it, and
Right.
I,
That's right.
like a lot of you all may not think it's that bad, but I think they're signaling that with every action. So
And don't forget that the woman who shot her dog in the face is the person that's in charge of this.
yeah, yeah,
Christy No.
yeah,
She's the one that shot her dog and her goat right in the
yes.
face. So,
We've got oh boy, yeah. Uh, and for me though, I mean, like that's bad and stuff, but it's the other stuff she lied about that I think was worse. Like,
but I mean, I'm just saying she's a callous human being.
oh no, I got what you were doing.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah. She's a
No, I
callous
think that was
human
appropriate.
being. And she probably considers most people, especially people of different colored skin than herself, as about as important as her dog. I mean, she has no like, empathy whatsoever, obviously.
Oh no, I think she's a miserable sack of meat. Um,
And I think that's why he put her in that position.
I do
Because
too.
I think I heard I heard a similar thing when her book came out, and everybody was going on about her shooting that dog. And I heard somebody, a pundit, say that they felt like that because they were asking her why she put it in there, because her publisher tried to get her to take it out.
Yeah,
And they were talking about why she left it in there. And I remember one of the pundits saying that he felt like that she was using that as a job application.
yeah.
And I thought that was crazy at the time, but then when he named her in that position, I'm not so sure that person wasn't right. She knew
Oh,
exactly what she was doing.
I
She,
think I think that Trump owed a lot of favors, and those are the people that got appointed.
but
I
I think
think that
she showed him that she was cruel and callous.
I think that he owed Tulsi Gabbard, and that he owed Kristi Noem and RFK, and I don't know about Pete Hegseth, but for certain Pam Bondi he owed.
He liked
And,
Pete. He liked Pete because he was on the weekends, because he watches TV, and Pete was always like praising him and stuff.
I agree with that, but I feel like Pete would have had to have done something to show his loyalty
Well,
to.
the white supreme. He's a
That,
white
oh,
supremacist. And
that's the connection. You're
yes,
right. To
yeah,
keep the white supremacists on board. I
yeah.
got you.
That's their man.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry I missed that, but yeah, I knew that. Uh,
And
so
Tulsi Gabbard is like a Putin loves, like the Russia loves her.
right, she's the Russia connection,
She's a
right?
Russia
She's
baby.
the
She's a
she.
Russian baby. They love her over there. She's like,
Well, well, they put her in a position, the head of intelligence, and she has connections with Russia. So now she's the Russia connection, and Congress will never know, and nobody will ever know what she's doing because it'll be, classified above their level. So, uh, she you gave the highest security clearance in the world to a Russian asset, but
Well, one of the Russian leaders one time said about the United States that they would take the United States without firing a shot. I can't remember. It
oh
wasn't
sure.
Gorbachev. Wasn't Gorbachev, but it was one of them that said that they would take the United States without firing a shot. And
Well, I mean, the new word of 2025 is going to be oligarchy, right? I mean,
I was
that,
I think it's I don't know, but
well, I mean, we have it's
I mean it's just it's a word that most Americans don't even know what it means. It's
well,
hard
right,
to say.
but it's being used all the time now because just a few years ago we went on about how evil it was that Russia had these oligarchs that had so much power and stuff, and now Trump is modeling our government on Russia's.
But I
Like,
think that's where our messaging is bad because I think we should come up with some. First of all, it's so much worse than what oligarchy sounds like, and most Americans don't even know what that means. It's hard to say. It's hard to spell.
I,
Um,
I mean,
just go ahead, and we should come up with a better term that
well, no, I don't disagree with that. I mean, even if they want to call them the tech bros or whatever, like I don't disagree with whatever they call them. I was just, and for me, I'm not trying to send any messages with that word. I'm just using the
I
word.
know, but I mean, I think that that's bad messaging from the
Well,
Democrats.
and in fact, I'm pointing out that it is being used all the time. Like in 2005, the word was insurgent, right? But I think that word is normalizing among people, and it's funny that all these connections to Russia, and they're modeling it's running exactly like Russia is. Trump is taking up all this power. He's gonna, even if he can't run for president, he's gonna create some position that he can. He better, he Congress is going to do whatever he says, and he doesn't care what the court says. And he's already told everybody he plans to stay in office. The first time he got elected, from the very beginning of his presidency, I was saying he's not going to leave when this is over. He's not going to leave if he loses. And I'll be damned if that's, he tried. I mean, to the point that we had January 6th happen. But it's the same thing here, only now, because it says he can't run again, he's not going to just give up power. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins or what happens or anything. He's not going to just give up power.
I told you last night the whole party is governing like they don't ever expect to lose power. They're putting in place rules and laws and things that they would never want the
Well, because they're not
I
governing. They're
know, but they would never want the Democrats to have the power that they're giving themselves, and so
oh yeah.
they don't plan on leaving office. Obviously, now, they're not governing like a party that plans on ever being out of power.
No, no. I mean, they're not. This isn't just the 2-year plan, right? This is
Yeah,
they're trying to literally overhaul our government and make it into something different. That's yeah. It's not just oh, we're just differing on policy. It's no longer that. And that's not funny. I'm sorry I laughed, but it's just so absurd that it's
well, sometimes you just have to
you
laugh.
have to laugh sometimes. I mean,
I keep thinking maybe we're gonna wake up. We're in like a like some kind of cartoon horror film, with the yeah bad drug trip. Maybe we're on a bad acid trip.
oh gosh, don't
I,
tell
I was
me,
gonna
Mom.
I was
I,
gonna tell
I,
Nate.
I I still have flashbacks from the ketamine they gave me in the ER. So
Nate
uh,
said something a minute ago about if the nation wants to sell drugs, who's going to sell the drugs or something like that. They just come to Kentucky. We got all kinds of drug dealers here. There's plenty of drug dealers who are looking for work.
what if I wake up and I'm a fundamentalist Christian?
You or you reading
Yeah.
that?
I'm a fundamentalist Christian right winger. When I wake up, what happens then?
Just go back to sleep. Go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. Yeah.
It was
You
a
better lay
nightmare.
back down before you hurt
It was a
yourself.
nightmare. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go back to bed. Um,
Yeah,
it's
we've
called
never.
what was that show? I always say this. Reminds me all the time. It's like the one where like the guy had the light and it was like black and white, and he would say it's something weird happening or whatever. Now I can't think of it. I've lost my mind here, but anyway, that's what it is. It's like a different realm.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That old
Yeah, yeah.
show. Shoot, I say it all the time too. Come on, somebody, chat, help me out. Help me out.
What?
Twilight Zone. Thank you,
Twilight
Zach.
Zone. Yeah, there it is.
That's what I've said all along. It's like we live in the Twilight Zone.
I was thinking the in between. Uh,
No, the Twilight Zone. You made me not even be old enough to remember the Twilight Zone.
yeah, they played reruns of it on Nick at Night when I was a kid, late at night.
It was a really weird show. You know what I mean?
I've seen every episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And Tales from the Dark Side too was an awesome TV show.
That's what I feel like, that we're in the Twilight Zone. I've
Yeah.
always felt like that.
I used to watch the Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side and Patty Duke and My Three Sons late at night.
My Three Sons. Oh,
Yes. When I was a kid, I grew up watching that. I loved those shows.
yeah,
Um,
I like My Three Sons.
Lucy and Patty Duke and Dick Van Dyke. I love the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
That old style comedy late at night was just the I don't know, the right thing to watch, I guess. I loved watching that stuff though. As a kid, I stay up all night watching that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, it's like.
I love that because as a kid, when I was a kid, all the channels went off at 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. They all played, like every channel that we had played the national anthem at like 2:30 or 2 o'clock, something like that. And then there was no TV. There was nothing.
They signed off. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that part of when I was a real young kid. They did that, right?
Yeah.
So I remember watching even Johnny Carson when I was a kid. Johnny Carson had the Tonight Show.
Oh, I loved.
And I used to stay up at night and watch Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show because I thought he was hilarious even when I was a little kid. And
Johnny Carson and the other one too that was on there at night. They did the late show after him.
Well, there was Conan was there for a long time, but there was Dave
Letterman.
Dave Letterman, yeah. Dave Letterman, I liked his top tens. Those were a lot of fun. But I wasn't crazy about Dave Letterman.
I like David Letterman, but I love Johnny Carson with his like little envelope thing that he stuck up his little Swami hat or whatever, and he was like.
Tori hit it on the head here. Tales from the Crypt, yes, that on HBO, man. Tales from the Crypt was the show. Tales from the Crypt and Mike Tyson fights made HBO amazing.
And we lost Joe. We lost George Foreman last week.
Did George die?
Yes.
I'll be damned. Well, that's sad.
A lot of people with Foreman grills in their house still today, I think.
Well, let me tell you something about George Foreman the boxer, okay? So George Foreman the boxer was an animal whenever he entered the professional heavyweights, and nobody could beat him. I mean, he was all kinds of boxers said that they never been hit as hard as they were by George Foreman, and George Foreman went on to become the champion and was later beat by Ali and never really recovered from that. So George retired at an early age from heavyweight boxing and went and became a pastor and ran a gym of his own and found God. And George came back later to fight again and ended up winning the heavyweight championship again. He had 2 professional boxing careers. Now, the way that he won the heavyweight championship was a little sketchy, if you ask me, and like Michael Moore and all that crap. But either way, though, it was an amazing time in boxing. And George Foreman's the only person to retire and then come back and win the heavyweight title a second time like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff right there. And then he sold lots of grills. Lots of grills.
George Foreman, he ran a gym for free. He paid. The reason he went back to boxing was because he was running out of money, and he was running a gym for local kids to keep them out of gangs and stuff. And George Foreman was a hell of a guy, really. I don't agree with his beliefs, but he was a good person.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, it's
whenever
almost time for the transpositions.
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. So whenever the show ends here in a few minutes, folks, we're just kind of talking, hanging out here for the last little bit, which is always fun to just talk about stuff like that. That was an awesome trip down memory lane. But anyway, when the show ends, you'll automatically be sent over to the Transpositions Weekly show, their new show. Go over there and support those guys. They're doing really great, and the Transposition show is just they have awesome stories, and it's not all doom and gloom like I give here. So stay tuned whenever the show ends, and you'll automatically be kicked over there. Tell them I sent you, and send them all the love, and do the liking and subscribe and stuff. All right. But
Hey, Danger just reminded me of something I forgot. Every one of George's kids were named George.
yeah, he had like a daughter named Georgiana or George something. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. She said a little bit cuckoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Every one of his kids were named George.
Yeah. George. I'm not saying that George was smart. George was known for not really being that smart, but he was a good businessman in a number of ways. But George probably did a lot of odd things and stuff. Yeah, he got hit in the head a lot. But
Yeah. They all
he, George made some good business decisions. So that George Foreman grill made him just as much money as boxing did. Putting his name on that was big. Everybody had one of those, or some.
Ain't Jer said that hers lasted till 2010.
George even named his daughters George too. She's a boxer also. Yeah, she's a big girl too, if I remember correctly. Like she's built big. Not a fat girl. I'm saying she's a big muscular girl that can fight. But all right. So let's wrap it up here because they're starting over there, and I don't want to step on the show anyway, especially for their intro.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for coming and supporting the channel. Thanks so much for the gifted memberships and stuff. Stop the stupidity. Everybody that got memberships, I'll see you soon on a members chat. Thank you for the super chats as well. Pinworm. I feel like there was another super chat, but maybe not.
Follow us over to Transpositions.
Yeah. I'll see you over in the chat at Transpositions for a minute. Go over there. Tell them we sent you. Have a good night.